Hi, I'm Arthur. I'm not a doctor. I'm an avid hiker, and I live in Florida. And there's a real possibility in Florida of running into a venomous snake. A rattlesnake. Doesn't have to be a rattlesnake. It could be a coral snake. But there is a real good chance of running into one. I personally have been looking for a rattlesnake in the wild since I was a kid, and it is almost embarrassing to admit that here I am, 51, and I've never seen a poisonous snake out in the wild. As much as I like snakes and wildlife, so I thought it would be a good idea anyway to be prepared in the event that I was bitten by a rattlesnake. I like to go hiking in an area in western Palm Beach County where there's no hunting allowed, but I could be deep into the woods, miles in, hours away from my truck, very secluded, very rare that I ever run into anybody else. And you can't look at every place that you step, although you should, especially if it's in rough terrain and you might trip. You're gawking at scenery, looking for wildlife. It's possible to run into a snake, a large snake, venomous snake. So in the event that I was bitten, how would I react? How would I solve the problem? Well, first of all, I'd like to let my wife know where I'm hiking, and I have a map of the area, and I grid it off with different letters so that if I were in area K, I could tell her. And plus, I have that map in my cell phone that I could email. So in the event that I was bitten by a rattlesnake, I would first call 911 immediately. I would also, I guess, call my wife. Maybe I would call my wife first and then 911. Now, they say, I read up on it yesterday, you don't want to wash the area because somehow they can identify the snake if you don't wash the area. I don't know if it's the venom or on the skin, the saliva, size of the bite. Just don't wash the area. Wash around it, but don't wash where the bite site is. If you're bitten in the hand or the arm, you don't want to elevate it. You don't want it to be higher than your heart. You don't want to accelerate the blood flow back to your heart. That's what you don't want. Therefore, you don't want to lie down. You don't want to elevate your feet like you would if you were in shock. And you don't want to do anything strenuous. So you don't want to put all your gear on and try to walk out of the area unless you're close to your vehicle. So therefore, I would probably, if I were deep in the woods, stay put, and hopefully a helicopter would come in with a gurney. I could climb in and climb out. If you can identify the snake, that's good, but it's not necessary to capture it or kill it. That would take extra energy, put yourself in harm's way again, and potentially put first responders in harm's way as well. It's kind of like a bad guy running away. Get a description, and that should be good enough. You don't want to put a tourniquet on the area, but you could put like a ACE wrap to kind of suppress the blood flow The venom is going to destroy the tissue. So by putting a tourniquet on, that's just going to enhance the destroying of tissue in that area. So allow for some blood flow. If you do wrap it with a string, a rope, an ace wrap, a shirt, whatever, you don't want to make it so tight that you can't fit a finger underneath it. And again, don't elevate it. Keep yourself standing up, keep yourself calm. When I was reading about this yesterday, that was a big emphasis, is to remain calm, because obviously if you get excited, your blood pressure goes up, your heart rate goes up, your breathing goes up, and all that does is just help that venom circulate more, and you want to try to suppress it as much as possible. The idea after getting bit is, as quick as possible, you need to get to a hospital. So my fear is that, when am I going to run into a rattlesnake? I'm going to run into a rattlesnake hiking deep into the woods, and it's going to be just my luck that I'm 2 hours away from my vehicle, deep into the woods, nobody around. And once you're bit like that, you're not going to be able to help yourself get out. It's going to be a matter of hoping somebody get to you. Cell phone fully charged with a map, understanding whereabouts your coordinates are that you could relay to somebody else where you are. Major road. There is, with phones nowadays, we're in 2015, triangulation. I don't know if I said that right, but the ability to find you on a cell phone bouncing off cell towers, I guess. So that's about it. I can't think of anything else. So my decision would be to try to, in my mind, how much effort would it take for me to get back to my truck? If I feel like I could get to my truck, say within, yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know how much time you have. What if it's a big snake, a deep bite, a lot of venom? That's a good question. How long do you have? Do you have an hour? Do you have 6 hours? And then they said some of the symptoms that you might feel are swelling. Oh, that brings up another point. If I'm wearing a watch, my wedding ring, I want to take it off, put it in my pocket. Well, if I'm bitten on the hand, well, even if I'm not bitten on the hand, there's a possibility I could have swelling all over. But certainly at the bite site, there'll be a lot of swelling, milkiness, milky vision, dizziness, diarrhea, nausea, probably confusion, and if it got to that point, that would be bad news. I don't think too many people die of snake bites, but again, not too many. In an urban setting, you don't see poisonous snakes. It's when you're, and I'm in an area where I'm hiking solo, and there aren't even hunters. This is a nice area where hunting isn't even allowed. So, all right, well, that was my little test to myself, how much I could explain about surviving a poisonous snake bite.